What's up, y'all? Welcome back to A Shift Movement. I am Tara Smith again, for those of you who don't know me. And today I'm coming to you with a kind of a different message today. And not only that, I'm going to tell you a little bit um, about my life story. And the topic of today pretty much is about breaking away from chains, breaking chains. We have a tendency to allow our past, things that has happened to us in the past, whether it was our fault or not, generational things. It could be genetics, emotional things, behavioral patterns, things that we have gotten. It could be something that's hereditary. It could be a thought pattern. It could be anything. But I want to talk about these chains that we allow to hold us back from going into our purpose and walking with God into our purpose and trusting Him to lead us. We have a tendency of looking back at these things and allowing them to hold us back. So that's what I want to talk about today. So without further ado, here we go. Let's jump right in. Um, so I want to talk about as a kid, I went to the circus. I remember my first time going to a circus, right? We went on a field trip with my school, and I think I was in about elementary school. And I remember going. There was a lot of people, and anyway, I had a blast. And what I was just in awe of, what the animals were doing and how they were listening, and I just couldn't help but to wonder how they got those big wild animals who was, strong and powerful and could easily overpower them. I was wondering how they got the animals to do all of that stuff, jumping through hoops lit on fire, walking on the two back legs, spinning in circles, connecting with each other and just doing all sorts of amazing things. So I was excited about that, but even as a child, I used to think back like, how in the world do they do that? And I didn't know then, but then as I became of age, I started learning how they did it. And the one particular animal that kind of came to my mind was the elephant. Um, the elephant is so big. If y'all have ever been to the circus or seen an elephant or TV or in real life or went to the zoo, elephants are massive creatures. They're heavy, they're strong, they're just amazing creatures. And I just could not understand how you can get the elephants to do that stuff, and let alone get them to practice the tricks and do them successfully. But how did they subdue them? That was, my thing. If you can just overpower me and just go free, why didn't you? And, just how did they get the elephants to stay under their control, and how do they exert that force? Because humans, we're like this compared to an elephant. So I started, in the past doing research, and I learned that elephants, first of all, they're 5,000 to 14,000 feet. I mean pounds big in size, and the African elephant can get up to 12 feet tall, 30 feet long, and up to 13,000 pounds. That's a lot. That's a lot of muscle. That's a lot of fat, and it's just crazy. So, like I said, I started doing research, and I heard someone tell the story before of how elephants are trained, and they started going through that training process as an infant, as a baby. As soon as they're born, we humans start to train the elephants to allow us to exert control over it. And they do that by putting either a stake in the ground or connecting a chain around their ankle that's, of course, stronger than them, because the baby elephant only weighs on average 200 pounds and it's only 3 feet tall, right? So as a baby, maybe it might not be so strong. So what happens is that elephant as a baby tries to get away, but what happens is the chain it digs into their skin, and the more they pull away, the more they try to get away, the more it digs into their skin. Then they pull away some more, so they're experiencing pain. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's excruciating pain. And eventually, as they figure out that the more and more that I try to get out or get away or go, the more it hurts. So over time, the elephant, just decides to stop trying. It stops, trying to get away. And it becomes their life circumstance. And that's all they know. So, and I said all that to say that, the elephants are trained by their past circumstances, because when you think of it, they fear what'll happen. If I pull so hard, is this going to rip my leg off? Is it the chain going to, shred the rest of my skin off my ankle? Some of them conclude that I can't get away anyway. So why keep fighting? And over a long period of time of them, and as they're raised up and still chained, of course the chain gets stronger according to the size of the animal. But you know the point is they just stop trying, and getting out is no longer an option to them in their minds. um the normalcy of it becomes normal. This is what we do. They become dependent on, the masters or the trainers to feed them, to bathe them, to take care of them, to do all of these things. And they get, they go on their little routine, and, they get up in the morning, and then they start practicing on this trick, and then they start practicing on another trick, and then they're fed lunch, and just they have this normalcy, um, that the sense of normalcy that demands them, or that pretty much helps them to depend on us, the trainers, human beings, to do what we want to do to them. And that's just the way that it is. That's their circumstances, and it's normal to them, so they don't think anything of it. They're familiar with it. And if you become familiar with something, it's comfortable. And we all know how things get when we get comfortable. We don't want to move. Have you ever gone to the kitchen and got something, and you sat down? You had, for me, I'll say I went and got my bowl of ice cream and chopped up my little Oreos in it, and my Neapolitan ice cream, the ones with the vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry flavor, and I'll chop my Oreos. But you got your favorite treat from the kitchen, and you go sit down under the couch, on the couch, and you get under your covers, and you watching a movie, and then next thing you know, you forget something, and you got to get right back up, and you so comfortable that you just don't want to move. Or maybe it's that you have to use the bathroom and you too comfortable, so you gonna sit right there on the couch, and you gonna hold it rather than go ahead and relieve yourself like you should do. Go ahead and empty that bladder out, but you so comfortable you don't want to move. You want to, because if you get from under them covers, it's gonna be cold. Or if you get from under the covers in the bed, and you get up, and get out the bed, you're gonna be cold. So what you do, hit that snooze alarm. You're comfortable. And that's how an elephant becomes that's their comfort zone, and that just it is what it is. And that's just what it is. Not only that, they don't think they're strong enough to get out. Now we know, if if the oldest recorded, the heaviest elephant ever recorded was an African elephant, and it was 23,000 pounds. 23,000 pounds. So you and I know that that elephant is strong enough to break off that little measly chain, right? But that elephant don't believe and know how strong he is, that he can just pull away real quick and just snap that chain, just like that, and go off to the wild and wilderness and live how he's supposed to live. But yeah, so they think they don't know what power they have, so they stay. And then they don't know what's out there. Again, they've been raised, in captivity for all of their life. So they don't even know what's out there. So maybe, we don't know what elephants think, but maybe the elephant is thinking, well, I don't know what's out there. So, but I do know what's in here. So I'd rather, go with what I know rather than risk it all somewhere I don't know. Y'all know that's true. That's true. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes, yes, that's me. And that stops us from moving forward. And I was thinking about how God created the animals and then he created us. And even though he allowed us to reign over the animals and take control and dominion over everything, he made us in his likeness. And also, the animals are in his likeness. Everything in creation uh, is in God's likeness in some way. So we have similarities, so many similarities, and things that we can learn from animals, even though we hold ourselves on a higher, higher than animals in a way. We can still, we should humble ourselves, and there's a lot of different lessons we can learn from animals, and the elephant is just one of them. Um, and we're all connected to God on a spiritual level, a level that we don't quite understand. And I understand it, but there's even things that I know that I don't understand. I'm only touching a little small teeny, probably a grain size of understanding for real of the things of God and nature and how everything works together. So we also have that similarity of that chain, the same chain that the elephant wears at birth. We have that same similarity, except it's a metaphorical chain. There's a metaphorical sense of pain and things that keep us back, the pain and depression, or like I said, hereditary things that's passed down from generation to generation. Those things has a tendency to kind of hold a chain on us, and it's hard for us to let go and move forward, unfortunately, if you allow them to continue to hold you back. The way you're brought up and the way that you're nurtured and the behaviors, of course, and your mindset, whether you have a positive or negative mindset. If your parents or the family members or whoever raised you think in a positive way, like the glass is half full, then you'll think in a positive way. If you had people around you and raised with that negative thoughts and negative behaviors, then you're going to think and behave in a negative way. So, like I said, I said all that because I wanted to get around to my story, but I wanted to give a illustration of how we are held back first from the things of our past. And, if we don't take hold or take control of our own stories and, be proud of our stories and own your story, then we can have, chains on our ankles for life that we never get away from and we never conquer. So, we'll never go farther if we don't get past certain things. So I just want to talk about that today. My story used to be something that I used to hide, and I knew that I always had to tell my story, but I never knew when the right time would be or what to say. And I didn't know, honestly, was scared, of what people would think and what my own family would think. But somewhere along the way, as I started owning my story and, who I am and how God has, played that big role in my life and allowed the things of my past to make me who I am today, I started owning my story. And now I feel like, you can't hurt me with my own story. My story is my story. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of it. I love who I am today and I love who I'm becoming because I'm not done. I'm still, there's still a lot of work to do. But I own my story. So, here I am, just want to allow other people to get to just know Coach T or Tara Smith a little bit more than they ever knew me. and I want you to, get to know where I came from, just to also help you, to relieve you. Because if you tell your story, 9 times out of 10, there's other people that need to hear your story in order so they can be released. And you essentially give other people the permission to be themselves, the permission to put away all the fakeness and the facade, and take the eyelashes off. And I ain't talking about eyelashes, because I know some of y'all wear them and they're cute. I tried them, but I was allergic and it didn't work out. But take off the eyelashes and the makeup, take all of that stuff off, and just know and love yourself and love your story. Do love your story. And nobody else can hurt you with your story. Nobody can hurt you with your story, because it's your story. So be proud of it. If you don't, it could also become not only a stumbling block to you, but it's going to be a stumbling block to other people. Whatever you don't do, and those people who you're not influencing, that you could influence in a good way, just because you're simply being silent and you're not telling your story, you're doing them a disservice. You're doing yourself a disservice, because when you put it out there, you own it, you feel better, you're able to pick your head up and keep on walking. And when somebody see you doing that, then that gives them courage to do the same thing. There's a sense of freedom that comes from telling your story. So please tell your story. And you might not think you influence anybody, but you do. You influence your kids, what you say or do, and what you don't say and don't do. We're all accountable to it all. That's what the words say. Uh, we're accountable. You're accountable for your actions, your thoughts, everything you'll be held accountable for. So, the people that you were supposed to help, the people that you could have helped, your kids seeing you this way rather than seeing you doing this, like everything you do or don't do, it affects those around you. So you might not think they're looking, but they're looking. So, if you have courage and you allow yourself to break free from those chains, then your kids and the people around you, maybe somebody who you don't even know directly, they might just be watching you from afar, and they see, how you're carrying yourself and how you're just so open and free with who you are, and you've just given them the freedom to be who they are. You've given them permission, silent permission, to be who they are. And and that does a lot for somebody's confidence and their future also. So the first thing of for in order for you to go beyond the chains and to break away is, like I said, is owning your story. Because we serve a all-knowing God, and everything he does is purposeful and is for a reason. And you've gone through the things that you've gone through for a reason. So share it. Understand it. Don't be scared of it. Investigate it. Feel the emotions behind it. Cry. Go talk to a counselor. Go, like, just do whatever it is that you're supposed to do to get help, because that's the only way that you're going to step forward. It's the only way. You have to face it face to face. Come face to face with your past. Take it on, take it head on, just like this. Don't be afraid. Face your past. Look back and, see what happened. Ask questions. Do what you need to do. Do your homework. Whatever it is that you need to do to be loosened of those chains of fear, depression, hurt, shame, feeling unworthy, having low self-esteem, whatever it is that, your past has put on you. Because a lot of the things, honestly, you had no choice. God don't ask us before birth, what family you want to be born into, ma'am? What about you? What family you want to be born into? Oh, that family over there. Okay, I got you. All right. All right. What about you? You want to be born into this perfect family over here, or into this mansion? Oh, you want a family? No, God don't do none of that. We don't get a choice. We go to the parents, the mother and the father that we are, conceived of. That's what happens. The circumstances, that's what happens. We have nothing to do with it. But, it affects us, unfortunately. But the good thing is that God uses those things to make you into who He needs you to be. And, if you understand it and just trust in Him and, just grow with it, allow it to do what it does in you, and, you are proud of it and you take control of your life and get off of, get away from that stuff, you can go on to do great things in life. But first, you have to trust. So anyway, with all of that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and tell my story because I'm already at 20 minutes. I know I talk a lot, but I just had to get all of that out because it's gonna lead into my story. So y'all ready to learn a little bit more about me? Hello world. What I tell you, I think I said it on the other video that I was scared of doing this, but I know it's something that I have to do. So I am out and I'm about to officially go public with my story right here. So if you heard this video or my last 1 or 2 videos, you probably heard a little bit here, a little bit there. But if you haven't seen the other one, go look at the other one. I think it's called, what did I call it? I can't think of it right now. It'll come to me later. But anyway, this is one of the ones that you can go back and learn who I am. And I wanted to tell my story because I want to show you why I'm passionate and why I have the drive that I have today. And I want you just to understand my walk and my journey. And I hope that it blesses your journey and your walk and give you direction and help you with your purpose, because I've finally understood that this is my purpose and I went through what I went through because this was my purpose and I'm meant to be here and I'm so happy. So anyway, let me just get to my story. So when I told you that God just put you in a family, right? He just put you in a family. He gave you to my family. Now let me give a disclaimer real quick. I'm never talking about my family. I love my family to life, and I never am saying anything to talk bad or say anything negative about anybody. I'm simply telling my story, this story from my point of view, kind of like in the Bible, how Jesus' disciples, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, how they all told the story of Jesus in their own perspective. So it's not to say that one person's story was wrong or Mark's was wrong or John's was wrong or whatever. They all saw and witnessed the whole thing, and they were all connected to the circle around, surrounding Christ. They were all Christ's disciples, but they had a different perspective of it. And they all also internalized it differently. And, since every person is different genetically and psychologically, and in their personality, then the same experience is going to cause them to have different outcomes in life. It's going to cause different actions and different emotions in each one of those people. So all of those people, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, had 4 different perspectives. So that's what I'm saying, about my family and my brothers and sisters. We all have different experiences, and we experience the same thing, but we experience the same things in a different way. So I'm just simply telling my perspective and being, freeing myself, and, prayerfully it'll help you or help someone else. So make sure you share this also, because we are, shifting our thoughts and mind and hearts, body, spirits, our souls right now. This is the time for that. So definitely share it so you can release somebody else. So I was born into abuse, neglect, poverty, and trauma. And it left mental, physical, emotional scars. It created unlimited beliefs. And I'm looking down because I got my notes so I can stay on track. It created self-limiting beliefs And self-limiting beliefs are things that you believe about yourself that's not necessarily true, but you believe that it's true, because of a circumstances or something that has happened. So you have adopted that belief and made it a part of you. So your decisions that you do or don't make, it's all because of those beliefs. So if you believe that you can be successful, then you'll be successful. If you believe that successful is only for the rich, or it's only for that person or that person, then it'll be only for the rich or that person or that person. So that's what a self-limiting belief is. So I had a lot of those. I had low self-esteem. I had anxiety problems. I had rejection problems, being that I didn't have a father. My biological father wasn't there. In fact, he left because he committed a heinous crime, to my family, which left everybody broken in different ways, again, like I said, and dealing with different types of different results came from the same action from him. And so, yeah, so I had to deal with that rejection and the abandonment that comes from it, and then the lack of affirmation from just parents, period. We come from a hard family. We didn't see my mom cry. We just didn't experience that emotion. Some people have a lot of emotion in their family. Our family didn't. So I grew up to be hard, not express myself, and just hold it all in. And though, my mom took care of our needs, she wasn't, very emotional about things, especially with the abuse and stuff of, my father and whatever else she had gone in our, the past. And I'm talking about, mental, physical, and emotional abuse. So in a way, my biological father being removed from my life, it was bad, but it was also good because God protected me. I was the youngest of the four. So they directly experienced it because they was there. I got the hand-me-down effects. But the hand-me-down effects, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not just as bad as being there and seeing it as action. I just experienced it in a different way. So I always look at it, yes, I was devastated that I didn't have a father, and people didn't really understand it with me growing up, and I didn't talk about it. Excuse me. In fact, that's probably why I was so bad in school and angry, because I didn't have a father, and all my other friends and stuff did. So, yeah, but we wasn't an affirmed family. Nobody told me I was beautiful. Nobody said, I love you. So it had all of these different insecurities. I didn't even start saying I love you and hugging my family, honestly, until my adulthood. And that's when I started experiencing the love of Christ and stuff for myself. And I got saved and I got baptized, and I started learning that change comes from within first. Like Michael Jackson said, you got to start with the man or woman in the mirror first, and then you start doing that. So I realized that, if that's something I wanted in my family, one, I started it in my own immediate family with my kids, in my home. And then if that's something that I wanted with my brothers and sisters, that's something I had to work to inject a little bit, even though it was kind of awkward and stuff at first, and it kind of is now, but it's definitely a lot better than it used to be. So some of the events, I'm gonna go down the line real quick about just some of the events and some of the things that I went through with fatherlessness. I don't know if that's a word, I made it up. Fatherlessness. That was me and us. So that brought anger, bitter, hurt, rejection. I felt unloved. I was confused because I want a relationship with him, but then on the other hand, I didn't because of what he did to my family. So I battled that for a long time. I mean, years, y'all. Well into my adulthood, um, of that experience, and I'm still not even to the point. I'm at a good place right now, but I'm still not there yet. It's an experience, it's a process. But one thing I've done is I've learned to embrace it and use it, and like you see, I'm sharing it so it can help you. I was raised in a crime infested area for as far as back as I can remember. It was the crime and just a whole bunch of other stuff. If you ever lived in the hood or the projects or the place where lower economic, lower socioeconomical people live, I lived in that community. And I remember, both of my brothers, being shot inside of a week. One week, one brother got shot, and then the very next week, my other brother got shot. And I remember, seeing it and looking at the blood come down his arm. And my mom was fussing at him because she was like, "I didn't I tell you about being nosy and trying, if you ever looked in the hood or seen something going on, even if you wasn't brought up in the projects or something, if the police come up in your neighborhood, you're gonna lift up the curtains and be like, what's going on? Let me see." So that's what she was fussing at him about, being nosy. So in my head, I'm like, dang, he hurting and he in pain, but my mama fussing at him. If you ever came from a family like that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But she was just one of those hard mamas. But he was being hard headed. He should have listened to her. But anyway, he was fine. Both brothers, are fine or whatever. But we lived in that type of neighborhood, the drama, and everybody come circle around the drama and witness the fight, or some jump in and all that stupid stuff. So I also witnessed violence. I the woman I love more than anything in this world, the one woman I love, I won't say no names, but I witnessed that person try to hit her boyfriend with the car. Hit her boyfriend with the car. And then I also another time we laugh at it now, but back then I was scared. Y'all know how devastating and traumatic that is to witness that and you don't know what's going on. And then another time, um, this lady set her boyfriend's clothes on fire in the middle of the living room on the floor in front of me. I remember to this day like it was yesterday, okay? And I just was like, I couldn't believe it. And then things like alcoholism, and you might know most of us, almost all of us has a have a alcoholic in our family, or probably two or three of them jokers. And so what came with that, my biological dad was an alcoholic or drink and all of that. And then later on, my stepdad, same thing. And just I grew up with people, that's what they do, that's what you do to have a good time. They drink, they have a good time, and then sometimes they do it every day. So some of them know how to handle their liquor and some of them don't. So it is what it is. But that's pretty much the environment that I grew up in, and my cousins and stuff was violent. And if you did something to one, you did it to all. So we was coming for you. That's how my family is. Was we're a lot better now, but that's how it was back then. Then I was homeless another time. We got put out and we had to live in this homeless shelter. And to this day, it used to be a show. Excuse me. It used to be this show called In the Heat of the Night, and it came on at 10 o'clock at night. And I think I was about in maybe fourth or fifth grade ish, somewhere around there. I was about 9 years old, and I was about to turn 10. So whatever grade 9 years old is in, that's about the grade that I was in. And every time it came on, all the lights in the shelter would go out, and it was one of the most horrible times in my life because I already used to get teased at school. I was skinny, I was flat chested, I was black, I wore glasses. To me, I was unattractive. To the boys, I was unattractive because I didn't have the boobs like the other girls that was coming on their cycles at 11 or 12. I didn't come on mine till 14, but that's another story. Um, anyway, so it was around that time frame, so you can understand that kids are cruel in that stage. And then the last thing I needed them to know was I was getting off the bus and going into a shelter because I didn't have a place to go or nowhere to live. So that placed a whole lot of insecurities and a whole bunch of other stuff in my head. But on the other side, also is what drove me and drives me to this day to be successful and to accomplish my goals. And it's allowed me to accomplish as many goals as I have being this young. I know, young. Yeah. So I've been very successful because of some of that stuff. Anyway, so I would walk past the shelter once I got off the bus, and then I'll wait and would make sure everybody was gone first and going into the down their streets, and then I'll turn around, make sure they was gone, and I hurry up and run to the shelter door and hit the bell so they can hurry up and buzz me in. I couldn't have nobody seeing me going in the shelter, but that was my first encounter as far as I can remember, of going to a shelter, and that's traumatic. It might not be, I got hit by a car or I witnessed, my parent get killed or something like that, but to me that was traumatic, and for me, like I said, that did a lot. You talking about chains on somebody's ankles? I had to loosen a whole lot of stuff surrounding that, and even to tell y'all the story and tell the world the story. Y'all just don't know. All of this stuff, I had to work very hard to get over and to loosen the chains off of my ankles so that I can be free. So then more violence came. I witnessed my mom being, pushed down to the floor, and I was there, and I was just a little girl, and I couldn't do nothing about it. And it just made me feel helpless. But the one thing that I said when I got there, I was like, I ain't gonna never have a man to hit me or put his hands on me because I'm not gonna live that way. So yeah, that's what I took from that. Now that happens in two things can happen with that situation. Some witness it and then they grow up to live it out in their own lives, and then some, like me, thank God, uh, have the situation to make them better and have them to not tolerate such behavior, with them. Then I have something that happened to me that shattered my world. At that point, I think it was around 9. I had my stepdad at the time. At least they wasn't married. I just called him my stepdad. But I was 14 years old, and that means he had been about 5 or 6 years in me and my mom's life by that point. So I had grew to trust him and everything. And then, you know, the he had wrote a letter to me, and pretty much stating that he felt romantically in love or involved with me in a way that it shouldn't be. And I was 14, so I was young, but I knew exactly what that meant. And I just felt, the most disgusted, hurt, violated, just everything. And then some other things after I discovered that, or after it was, told to me, I was like, all this stuff now it makes sense why I didn't feel comfortable with, certain things and stuff like that. Anyway, I got the letter and I read it and I gave it to my mom, and I expected, to hear yelling in the house and somebody being thrown out the house. That didn't happen. I gave her the letter, and then I heard nothing else from it ever until I brought it up in my adulthood. So I'm 14, I'm living in this house, and it's miserable. I don't feel comfortable. I feel violated. I feel naked. I feel just everything that you can imagine, knowing that your supposedly person that you had trusted all of these years feel a certain way about you, and that just not supposed to be. I mean, this was the person that I thought would give me away on my wedding day because I didn't have a real father to give me away. And y'all know it's every little girl's dream to be given away by her daddy down the aisle. And so I was already, coming to the conclusion that my real daddy wasn't going to do it because he wasn't in there in the picture and so on and so forth. So I thought that this person would be the person. And y'all know that had, it just devastated me. It just took me back and all of that. And again, like I told you, nobody talked to me about it. I didn't go to therapy. It was never spoken of again. I gave the letter and that was it. So just imagine that. So, that I didn't, not only did I feel uncomfortable, I felt stalked. I felt violated. I said dirty, nasty. I felt stuck in a hopeless situation, and I didn't have anywhere to go or anywhere to turn to, um, because it was, like I cared about them and I was trying to protect them, but at the same time, I was protecting them at my expense and my emotional and mental expense. And that was just, it was all bad. So after that, I dealt with that for years, and I didn't get to leave the house until I was 18 when I went to college to play Division I basketball at American University. And you can actually look it up. You'll see me. I was balling. I got some pictures and stuff. You can look up my stats. I'm pretty sure they probably still got it up there. But anyway, look me up. So yeah. And then in high school, after that, shortly, I realized that I started having trouble with my heart, and I felt a certain way. And oh, and let me backtrack just a little bit. Remember, I told y'all I didn't feel comfortable because me and my family wasn't close and emotional, like we just didn't have that connection. So I didn't feel like I could go to my sisters or my brothers or whatever, and like I didn't know how. I didn't know how to go to anybody. And then not only that, I felt scared that if I told the police, they was going to take me away. So that goes back to how that elephant knows I'm comfortable. This is all I know. I'm dependent on these people. Those are the only ones that can, that can take care of me, that can pay for me, that can take me to school. Like that's all I knew, and that's all that I was comfortable with. But even though I wanted to go and wanted to leave, I felt like I couldn't. And then I didn't want to feel like I was betraying them or putting them out there or embarrassing them and stuff. For years I felt like this, years and years and years. But at the same time, how I had to handle it and why I had to finally come out with it is because that means if I didn't say something, I was gonna continue to be stuck with this secret and not getting it out of me for the rest of my life. And I can't have that because I want to be whole. I want to be healthy. I want to be mentally strong. I got to be all of that in order to be able to sustain myself and do what God is calling me to do. And I knew in order for me to heal, I just had to, suck that up and take that loss if it came to that. And, I pray that it doesn't, come to anything. And like I said before, I'm never, talking bad. That's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of the video is to tell my story and how I have overcome it and how I had to break away certain chains and experiences and stuff that was put on me that I didn't choose, that I didn't pick. I didn't do any of it. It wasn't my fault. It just happened to me. There's no other way that I just had to own it. And so that's why I'm telling you to own it, because that's the only way that you can be free and you can be that strong, male or female that you need to be. So I go back to where I was talking about the anxiety, the symptoms of how I feel. I didn't know that's what it was then, but later on when I experienced anxiety again in my professional life, that's when I realized that those same feelings I was getting, it was coming from anxiety. It was because I believe it was because of that situation and my living experiences, and I was never comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable wearing tight jeans. I just felt like I had to hide, but I couldn't hide because I didn't have anywhere to go. And I felt watched, and then I felt like touched in a way, not fondled or nothing like that, thank God. But it was another touch that even to this day, if it's a certain type of touch that I feel on my arm, I'm talking about even with my own kids, it completely means nothing, but it's a certain touch that I feel, and it takes me back to the touches back then. of how I was, how I felt when I was being touched by that person. And it just does something to you. But I'm like, again, I'm released it, but just because you're over something, it doesn't take away like kind of the PTSD of it, the symptoms and stuff, because it happened. So now you have to live with the residue of it, and just move further as best as you can. I secretly blamed my mom about, mom, because I felt like when she didn't leave him, she chose him over me. And eventually we had that talk. Um, I felt like I said I protected them because I felt like I had to, even though I felt unprotected and betrayed. And I felt let down and I wanted to run away, but I ain't had nowhere to go. Then in college, I started seeking love relationships, and y'all know how that go. I ain't even go there, but it just led to more hurt and letdown because I was trying to fill empty pieces with other broken pieces and brokenness and just all this other stuff. And with marriage, some of it just seeped into my marriage and stuff. And it took a lot. And I went through this point where me and my husband had well, before we even when we got married, we started going through right away. So it was like one thing after the next. And I remember um once we got married, it was the final. We got married. Our anniversary is April 11th. He lost his job in May, the very next month, and then we spiraled down from there. And of course, I didn't know how to be loved. I didn't know how to treat somebody, and I didn't know. It was a lot of things that I learned from church at that point and stuff because I had started going to church at like 18, 19. But it was a lot that I didn't know, and then I didn't have a good example or what a good marriage looked like or any of that. I didn't have any of that, so I only was bringing to the table all of my brokenness, and that's what I said I do too. It was brokenness with brokenness, and anyway, we sprout down with the loss of job, and that's a trauma that we had to experience. And we went from sleeping on one couch or one couch or the room one room at my mom's house. Then we went another year and we was homeless again, and we stayed with his parents, and then we were sleeping on their floor. And then after that, we had uh, got homeless again, and we had to live in a shelter, and we lived apart for 1 or 2 weeks or whatever because we didn't know where we were going to lay our heads. So he was in one city, I was in the next city with the kids, and it was just a lot of stuff that I've gone through and stuff because of I was born into the situation that I was born in, and then I started as an adult making wrong decisions based off of everything that was in me, and all of that brokenness was in me. So that's what I did. It was just more of it. I just continued to rebirth it. And we got to the point, me and my husband, so bad where I was depressed. I had suicidal thoughts. I wanted to kill myself. I felt hopeless. I started cutting myself, and a lot of people didn't know that, and a lot of people judge people who cut themselves or commit suicide or attempt to commit suicide and stuff. And I used to be one of those people that was real judgmental and hard on men, but especially I was hard on women and was like, I ain't never to do that. You stupid. Why would somebody do this? How would you do this? Don't judge people. Like the Bible it says, judge not or you will be judged. You'll be judged by the same measure that you judge someone else, pretty much. That's what it's telling you. So don't judge people. Don't judge me from my story. Don't judge anybody from their story because their story is their story. And, that's it. And, we have no right to judge people because we don't know what they came from and what has happened to them. And we don't know why they are the way that they are. And the best thing that we can do is just pray for them. So that's what I should have did, but I ain't know no better. But anyway, God made me eat my words and he put me in that same position. And then it was only then that, my eyes started to become open. And it's a lot of my family that, that saw me smiling and just saw me on the outside. That's why I said, take the eyelashes and the makeup take the facade out, not only just physical but spiritual. Take that, that hidden metaphorical. Take that veil off and just be yourself. And that's what I had to do in order to move forward. And I used to self blame and hate myself, and I never understood cutters until I became one. And I could tell you, for me, it was because I wanted to stop the pain, and I didn't necessarily want to die, but I wanted to stop the pain, and I wanted to punish myself in a sense because I wasn't good enough in my head. I didn't feel like I was good enough. I couldn't do anything right. I was always hurt by men. And now, in my head, now my husband didn't even want me, so I was good for nothing. I didn't have a father. Like, it was just, I could never do anything right in like my life. So that's the best way that I can explain it. I wanted to punish myself for not being good enough and not being worthy enough. And, I experienced a miscarriage, and that just led on to more believing that I was, unworthy and not good enough, and that God wouldn't allow me the privilege, of having another child, and so on and so forth. But, it was a lot. And so those are some of in short, some of the stories that I have, as far as the chains that was around my ankles, all of the pain and stuff, and the hurt, and all of those negative emotions and negative energy, and the people and the places and the situations and the circumstances, all of those things, if I had not gone past it or gotten past it, I would still be allowing those things to, keep me chained up, and not to the point where I am now. And I think I'm in a beautiful place. Like, I'm so happy right now. Y'all don't even know. So things aren't, perfect, and I'm not where I want to be ultimately, but I'm way past where I used to be, and I can see it, I can touch it. So I came along with y'all. And just like I go back to the elephant, how the elephant had fear, and what what'll happen if, I had a lot of that. What'll happen if I leave? What'll happen if I tell? What'll happen if I just don't deal with the situation? And over time, and in my life, in my life, just like the elephant didn't leave because it was chained up, the baby elephant, and over time it started believing that leaving wasn't an option. That's pretty much what I did in my house. I figured that leaving wasn't an option, so I just had to live there and stay silent until I, went to college and went away and got my own place and got my own life. So that's what I thought back then, that leaving wasn't an option. The pain, I thought, would my family be mad at me, and would I bring shame on my family? Even now, that's very legit, and it's a legit fear, and something that would hinder someone from being free and telling their story and putting it out there. And then I thought, would people say, was it my fault, or whatever? Is this my fault? Is that my fault? I relied on the normalcy. I was used to being at home in the comfort of my own home. I was dependent on my parents, just like the elephant was dependent on its masters or the trainers, whatever you call them. I don't know. Uh, but they was familiar with the situation, and all I was familiar with my situation. And it goes to the powerlessness and the suicidal thoughts and the hopelessness. Is just it stems from a sense of powerless, like you feel like you don't have control over your life. And it took me a long time to feel like I can have control over my life, but it took the Spirit of God to help me to understand the power that I have inside of me, the power to break free from all of that mess, and the fear of the unknown. I didn't know what was going to happen out there. All I knew was right here and right now. So I had to deal with all of this stuff head on. So if you don't deal with it head on, face to face, if you don't go back and face the people and the situations, and you just keep it all inside, it'll eat you up. It'll turn into alcoholism. It'll turn into anxiety. It'll turn into anger. It'll turn into depression. It'll turn into all of these things that are unhealthy for you. And all of those is just chains. It's just chains holding you back from being the best you that you can be. So you gotta let it go. If you ever seen the movie It, the clown movie by Stephen King, um, the clown represented all of the kids' fears. So for the girl, I can't remember her name, it was her dad, because her dad was abusive and kind of weird and molestation type of way. But that was her fear. And then for another boy, it was the fear of germs and, dying or whatever, of germs or whatever. It was kind of crazy, but that was his fear. Then for another little boy, it was the picture on the wall. And so it was different for each one of them. So that's what the clown represented. It was that fear. So if they took that fear away, and once they started hitting the clown with the bat and showing the clown that they wasn't afraid, the clown started shriveling up and essentially disappeared. And guess what it turned into, y'all? God is good. Thank you, God. I wasn't even gonna say that. The clown turned into a little baby. It turned into a little harmless baby, and it turns out that everything in the clown's in the little kid's mind was just their fears as babies, if you will, as kids, that going back to that baby elephant where you're helpless and you're scared of the dark, you're scared to go in the bathroom and use the bathroom, without the lights being on. You got to have all the lights on in the house. As a kid, you're scared of these things. You're scared that there's something under the bed. You're scared that there's someone in the closet. I used to think of that stuff even to my adulthood. It was certain things, especially let me watch a scary movie at nighttime by myself, and you talking about a grown person acting like a child, scared. That was me. So that's why I stopped watching movies by myself, especially at nighttime, because it messed with your mind. So that's all the clown was doing, was messing with their minds. It was getting them to believe that the things that they were scared of, that it was real, and it wasn't real. The stuff that you have 9 times out of 10 is not going to happen. It's just in your head and you think it's real, but it's not. It's just a fear of what you think might happen. That's all it is. And I learned that, somewhere it stands for false evidence appearing real. That's all fear is, false evidence appearing real. None of the stuff was alive. The picture on the frame in the movie It, the picture of that lady, that it wasn't going to come to life. Can't no picture come off the wall and no person come out the wall and walk and try to kill you. That's all in your head. There was nothing underneath your bed. That's all in your head. So that's all the fear is. What if? What if I tell my story and somebody judge me? Or somebody say, well, so what? Can't nobody hurt you with your own story. It's not real. It's just made up in your mind. That's all fear is. So if you know that it's fake and it's not real, get over it, have the courage and do it. Walk forward. Own your story. Um, and remember that you are not the baby elephant anymore. You're not that small. You are more powerful right now. And talk about the power of God in us, in a believer. You have the Spirit of God in you. Why would we be scared? Why would we be, scared of anything? He told us to fear nothing. Don't fear. Excuse me. The only thing that we fear is Him. And that fear is a different type of fear. He's saying that don't be scared of nothing. There's nothing that you need to be afraid of, because He fights our battles. He steps in. He protects us. He directs us. There's nothing to be scared of. Nothing. So know the power that you have within you just in his spirit. Again, especially if you're a believer. We almost kind of should be ashamed of ourselves if we call ourselves God's, and if we are his, why are we scared? Like, you know how you do. If somebody mess with your kid, you gonna protect them. You ain't gonna play around, right? If somebody do something or say something to your child and you in the store, you gonna move your child to the side and be like, hold up, no, who do you think you talking to? If we would do that for our kids, why won't we let God do that for us? God ain't gonna let nothing happen to us. It's nothing to be scared of. And if we tell our kids that mommy and daddy will protect you no matter what, then what makes us think a perfect God won't protect us no matter what? So why we scared? Why you scared? Don't be scared. Don't be scared. So anyway, you have to know who you are and whose you are. I'm gonna say that again. You not have to know who you are and know whose you are. And if that ain't enough to walk around like, shoot, if that ain't enough, I don't know what is. Because you know who child you are, do you? You better go learn. You better go learn who your daddy is, who your daddy is. And that was my daddy for a long time because I didn't have the right, you just heard a little bit about my story and stuff. But eventually I let God start being my daddy, and it ain't nobody else like him. Not my husband, not my real daddy, not my stepdad, not nobody. It's nobody like him. And if he is for us, then who can be against us? That should tear your fear down right there. If the other one didn't, this one should. If God is for you, who can be against you? Tell me that. I'm waiting. Nobody. Exactly. And so I just want to say that there's forces and evils out there that intend to hold you right where you are. Those chains, I wish I had a chain so y'all can just get the picture even, better. There's a chain that is around your ankle that you need to release, let go, take something to it and cut it out, take a key and whatever you got to do, bite it off like in saw it off, do something to get out of that chain, because that's what's holding you back from your tomorrow. Um, so I want to encourage y'all to rise up above your circumstances now, because you have a lot of people depending on you. You got your kids, your spouse, your family, you got co-workers, you got so many people depending on you, employees watching you. You got a lot of people depending, strangers. I got somebody that's probably gonna watch this video that I don't know, that don't know me from Adam and Eve, and they gonna hear the message. And turns out, if I would have never turned my camera on because I was scared, or I didn't want to go, or my hair wasn't good enough, or I ain't had no makeup on, if I was so scared, then I wouldn't have given this message to you or to that woman, child, man, whoever is seeing this. Even somebody that might be in a higher status than me, it might be a pastor that might see this and get something from it. But if I didn't, get past that and get over myself and whatnot, then I wouldn't be able to give this message and influence the people that I'm doing right now. You have to step out and believe in yourself and just, walk in your will, because that's what I'm doing. I'm walking in God's will, not your will. I say your will. You have to walk in God's will and do what it is that He's calling you to do, even if you're scared or not. Do it anyway. That's one of my things. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. You scared? So what? Do it anyway. You ain't got no money? Do it anyway. Do it free. Find somebody that'll help you. And pray to ask somebody to come into your life to help you, because He does. He do it all the time, and He does it to me. That's also for another video. But so yeah, so just be loosened from the shackles of fear, regret, whatever it is that you might be living right now in a relationship, in your job, newness, if you just lost your job due to coronavirus, if you've been laid off or put on furlough or whatever it might be, if you can't pay your bills, I always say that because that's a big one. If your car broke down and you can't get it fixed right now, like, just don't worry about none of that stuff. Just worry about the things that matter and getting over these self-limiting beliefs and these other things that you fear. Things like being embarrassed, not being smart enough, the envy and the addiction, all of the negativity, the things that don't, it doesn't do us any well to be thinking and fretting over these things. So we just need to do what we need to do to get rid of them. And stop being a prisoner of your own story. Your story was not given to you, or it wasn't meant for you to stay locked up in a jail and keep a secret all your life. It was meant to grow you as a person and grow you as an individual. And it was just a way of having your life. Like sometimes it seems cold, and you might ask God why. And I'm pretty sure we've all had that experience at one point or another of asking God why. But don't worry about why. Just think about getting loose from it and, seeking God and asking God to help you find out how to get past these things so that you can get past it. And just know that once you get past it and you look back, you'll be able to understand and see more clear. You're not going to see crystal clear, but God will let you see a little bit of taste of everything because He don't want us to know everything, because then we'll try to start helping Him do, we'll try to help Him do what He gonna do. And God don't need no help. So He'll only show you a little bit, just enough that you need to know. It's like on a need to know basis. Or you ever been at work and they said, we're not gonna tell every employee everything. We just tell you what you need to know. That's how God operates. He'll tell you what you need to know, and all you need to do is listen and do it, and then come back to Him for the next instructions. What do you want me to do next, God? All right, I did that. What you want to do next? What's on the menu? So wear your story like a crown on your head, like the king and the queen that you are, baby girl, baby boy. Wear that story because it's yours. And can't nobody do it like you. Can't nobody tell it like you. Can't nobody live it like you. Nothing. It made you who you are. You are a beautiful person. You deserve the best. I don't care what your past is. You deserve to go further in life. You deserve everything that it is that you want. You deserve to go places that you want. You deserve the job that you want. You deserve it. You just have to work for it. Continue to stay in God and stay in prayer all the time, because He will get you out and through. You're kings and queens of royalty, okay? Royalty. And you're connected with the Most High God. The Most High. Can't nobody beat that. Nobody. Nobody, buddy. So, remember when you're taking your next step forward that everything is possible with God. Everything is possible with God. And the last thing I want to say is to walk in your favor, walk in favor, in God's favor, because He will give you favor, and run with purpose. Don't walk with purpose, run in purpose. Connect with your purpose, connect with God first, because He will lead you to your purpose and things that you're passionate about, and He will get you in the right direction. A lot of us, most of the world is moving in the wrong direction right now. We so focused on money and material things and just other things, and we're not really committed to serve or help someone else, or to help someone else have a voice. So, run with purpose, run with God, and run with your purpose. And know that your purpose and your passion will lead you right to where it is that you need to be, that really good sweet spot That spot on the couch that's comfortable, that's great, with your cookies and cream ice cream and wrapped up under your blanket, watching a scary movie, maybe it. That sweet spot. Ah, right there. So at peace. So, anyway, yeah, run with purpose. Thank you for watching. This has been a very good experience for me, and I encourage you to do the same for yourself, as far as just letting go, owning your story. Um, you're not the baby elephant anymore. You're an adult. You're a mama and a papa elephant right now. So remember uh, who you are, remember whose you are, and remember the power that you have inside of you, and don't ever forget it. It's me, Tara Smith, aka Coach T, life purpose and personal development coach. You've heard about me first here, and it's been real, it's been nice, it's been real nice. Signing off. Have a blessed day.